Tipping the scale, you've heard of inflation. Consumers have been paying more at the cash register for nearly every item in their shopping cart.
And now another less jarring fee is creeping into daily expenses. Tips. Now, have you experienced the pressure to leave one at nearly every checkout line across Charlotte? And some consumers now are feeling that fatigue.
Queen City News Chief Business Correspondent Taylor Young breaks down tipflation and how it could be our new norm.
For nearly 14 years,
I have a single.
baristas at Central Coffee Co. have been energizing the caffeine connoisseurs of Plaza Midwood and beyond.
It's a dirty chai with almond milk, right?
More often than not, getting a gift of gratitude in exchange for their service.
But that's just kind of the standard for coffee shops that throw a buck in the jar.
The history of tipping is a controversial one, said to have started more than 200 years ago by the wealthy for quicker service. Now it's an option and maybe even an expectation at nearly every bar, restaurant, and coffee shop in the U.S.
You don't have to give them like the biggest tip in the world, but I think it's nice to be able to just show people appreciation for what they do.
An act of appreciation that a growing number of consumers say is being taken advantage of.
Tipping culture has gotten a little bit excessive at this point.
There's been more opportunities to ask people for tips in situations where tipping hasn't been a norm, and there's also a lower level of service provided.
What was once considered appropriate or a norm by consumer behavior experts has now creeped into checkout lines at fast food chains, self-service counters, and locally owned markets.
I agree with a 20% tip when you go out to eat, but when you go to a place like a Panera Bread or a Starbucks and they're not coming to serve you, they're not waiting on you in any way, and then they ask for a 25+% tip, I think that's just gotten ridiculous.
As the evolution of tipping has changed in recent years, so has the method of doing so.
Yeah, the little flip.
An iPad with digital percentages or prices now replacing cash jars.
It's definitely a lot more pressure just because it's like right in front of you and they're just standing there staring straight at you.
The tablets and screens at these point-of-sale devices are able to leverage some psychological forces that shape our behaviors. So anchoring occurs when an initial number influences our judgments. So an iPad screen where the default tip amount is 30% is likely to lead to higher tips than one where the default tip amount is set to be 10%.
Anytime somebody flips the iPad over at me and they're staring at me, of course I'm going to leave a tip, but inside I'm like, I've never tipped for this in the past. Why are we doing this now?
Brown sugar cinnamon latte.
At local coffee shops like Central Coffee Co., where tipping is widely accepted by customers, digital donations add up.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good day.
Sometimes as much as $8 extra an hour on top of their hourly wage.
We pull it all together for the 2-week pay period and then disperse it based on how many hours they work during that pay period, which is the most fair.
In North Carolina, minimum wage for non-tipped employees is $7.25, meaning at this coffee shop, staff can be making more than minimum wage in tips alone.
I think people in the food service industry, they are providing a service, they do work for what they do. I think tipping is a way of just showing your appreciation for that.
Reporting in Charlotte, Taylor Young, Queen City News.